Welcome to episode 3 of the Minority Small Business Digest, the platform that gives you the latest minority small business information, news, and forecasts that pertain to your business. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel to be the first to see the exciting upcoming episodes in which we will share information with you that will help you in starting, operating, and growing your minority small business. In this episode, Constance Jones, the Senior Director of Field Services at the National Minority Supplier Development Council, provides one of the most comprehensive discussions about certifying your company as a minority business. So watch, listen, and take notes attentively as Constance answers questions from minority small business owners and provides insight into the certification process. Be sure to watch the entire video to hear how you can apply for a reimbursement grant to cover the annual cost of the NMSDC certification fee. And stick around to hear Constance share some important keys that can unlock your business success. Welcome, minority small business owners, to our information session in which our guests will discuss the process for and the importance of certifying your company as a minority small business, wherever your business is located in the United States. And she will answer your questions about this subject matter. Hi, Constance. Thank you for joining us today. Can you please introduce yourself, your organization, and your position in that organization for our audience?
Sure. So thank you so much for having me. And it's always a delight to share information as it relates to minority business development. I am Constance Jones, the Senior Director of Field Services for the National Minority Supplier Development Council. We are a 501c3 organization that facilitate growth opportunities for ethnic minority firms and connect them with purchasing agents and procurement organizations and major corporations, governmental agencies, and educational institutions.
Thank you, Constance. What is the function of the National Minority Supplier Development Council, or the NMSDC?
Say it 3 times fast.
I know, right?
So NMSDC is an aggregate and a facilitator. We facilitate relationships. That's what we do. We hold corporations accountable for doing business with underserved and underrepresented communities of color. And we connect them with those organizations so that there could be real discussions about contract opportunities and economic parity.
Constance, what is your specific role at the MNSDC?
So my role at NMSDC is to facilitate those relationships with our 23 regional councils that are located throughout the U.S. They are what we call the boots on the ground that really help supports the ethnic minority businesses in their growth and development needs. And then I also administer our certification policies. So the policies are created at the national office, but they are actually implemented and processed at our local regional affiliates. We also have 5 international partners that I am responsible for, and those international partners are located in Canada, Australia, South Africa, United Kingdom, and China. We think it's very important for minority businesses to have these resources throughout the world in order for it to be real growth engines for those organizations. So not only do we look here domestically, we also work internationally with those affiliates.
Where's the NMSDC located?
NMSDC is located in New York, New York. That's where our headquarters are. But again, we have the 23 regional councils located in most metropolitan cities that helps us around the U.S. To provide the services that we offer.
When was the NMSDC created or established?
NMSDC was created 50 years ago. This year, we're actually celebrating our 50th anniversary, and we're really excited about that. The creation of NMSDC was a direct result from the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. So we saw that President Nixon really understood that there was, in order for there to be some type of symmetry amongst the the United States. They needed to do something in communities of color. And as a result of that assassination, it kind of spearheaded the executive order that created both the NMSDC and the Minority Business Development Agency, which is the government counterpart to what we do.
Constance, certainly one can understand the reason for the creation for an organization like the NMSDC after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., considering the racial disparities that permeated our country during that time. But many people believe that minorities in this country, particularly African Americans, have come a long way since then. So why does the NMSDC exist today still?
I actually think that's even more of an imperative question than the original existence of the organization. So let's fast forward 50 years later from the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, and we look at the murder of George Floyd. As we can see, history is continuing to repeat itself. And in order for us to really affect change and really impact communities of color, just not socially, but economically, politically, also education-wise, housing-wise, we have to really be willing to have the conversation about what do we do in order to make and impact that change. And so that's why NMSDC is just as imperative today as it was 50 years ago. We need to really look at how do we make that impactful change in order to ensure that we're doing things and we're creating structures and the ability for all minorities to participate in this American ecosystem in order to be really productive and self-sufficient. And so that's really the rallying cry behind NMSDC. Growth for minority communities mean growth for us all. And we have to get engaged in the process in order to be able to deliver on that promise.
Can you please discuss the importance and benefits of minority small businesses in the United States becoming minority certified?
So certification is really just a validation. It helps the major corporations understand that they are doing business with legitimate minority-owned firms. And that they have all went through a third-party process who pretty much reviewed their information and said not only are they minority owned, but they're also managed and controlled. And the real big significance behind management and control is that economic impact just doesn't start with the owner. It's great that we make the owner excel, but what is that owner doing in order to enrich the community and others to come behind them, to give them the education, the platform, the learnings in order to continue to grow themselves? And so that's why we look at minority management and control, because we want to make sure that we're building generational wealth and businesses in the minorities communities. And that's the real impact of certification. It is the validation that you are working with bona fide minority-owned firms that are giving back to the community via employees. We know that ethnic minority firms and small businesses tend to employ more minority-owned firms, as well as they are true growth engines for their community. They employ people in the community. And so that's really the significance behind engaging minority-owned businesses.
Constance has given us so much great information thus far. Now, for the remainder of the session, I want to give you, our audience, a chance to ask your questions. If you have questions for Constance, please raise your hand so that I can acknowledge you. You'll be given a chance to ask your question directly.
What type of businesses qualify as a minority small business versus just a minority business? What is the difference between the two?
So if you look at the definition of what the government calls small businesses versus what we look at as minority businesses, a small business really looks at your personal net worth and the worth of your company. Whereas when we look for minority businesses, we're just looking at the business itself. So we're not really interested in the personal net worth of the person, because remember, we want this to matriculate throughout your organization. So small business looks at personal net worth. They want to maintain some type of control as it relates to the size standard of your business, whereas an MBE just looks at your business as a whole. It doesn't matter what your size is. It doesn't matter what your personal net worth is. We're only focused on the business and how you manage, control, and operate that concern, and that it's owned by an ethnic minority who's a U.S. citizen.
Next question.
Hi, I have a question. Is a business automatically recognized as a quote unquote minority small business if its owner identifies with a nationally recognized minority group and the business is under a certain size?
Not for certification and counting perspective. So for certification, the ethnic minority owner must not only identify, but must be able to prove that they are part of that ethnic group. So they have to be able to demonstrate that they have ethnic lineage, and that isn't place of birth. That's actually the lineage, to be able to prove that they are from one of those diverse communities, and then they're able to support. Now, that's not to say that because they identify and don't have the ability to provide that they're not ethnic minority. We are not saying that at all. What we're saying is that in order to meet the certification criteria for NMSDC, they must not only identify, but must provide the documentation to be able to support that.
Next question.
What is your minority certification process like?
Yes, so certification now is electronic. I can actually say that pre-pandemic, we actually went to an online certification form, which allowed us to be able to process certifications electronically. So interested individuals can actually go to our website where we have an affiliate map to let them know where their home council is located. Every council has an electronic portal where they go online and register to participate and then complete the application. Once you complete the application, you upload all the requirement documents based on your legal structure and pay the applicable fee. Once you pay the fee, you can hit submit, and then your information goes to the certification specialist and they perform what's called a desk audit. The desk audit is where they're reviewing all your paperwork to make sure you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's and submitted the information that we need to ascertain your ownership, management, and control. Once they do that, they perform what's called a site visit. So they come to your location. There's a couple ways that they could do that. If you are a home-based business, they do some of those calls via electronic means like Zoom or Teams or any one of those types of platforms. If you actually have a physical location, they'll come out to your location. And it's really an opportunity to get to know you on your terms. So they not only can see and verify your information for certification, but then they could help you in understanding and knowing what type of resources are available to assist you in your company growth. All of that information is packaged together and provided to a certification committee. That committee is made up of independent corporations that are members of the organization that reviews the files and make a recommendation. They make a recommendation to the board of directors, which is the only body that can approve or deny a certification file. So that entire process takes about 90 days.
You all are asking really great questions. Next question.
Does the NMSDC certify small and large size minority businesses?
Absolutely. NMSDC certifies all types of businesses. And so one of the things that we've been focused on over the last couple of years is increasing that ecosystem that we have. So we certify businesses that have zero in revenue, and we actually want to keep you until you go IPO status. So we have firms that are actually trading on the Fortune 100 list. And we want to keep those in the organization because we want to show that we have sustainability, we have growth, we have capacity, and that they still are having challenges competing against their non-minority counterparts. And so we are very focused on meeting you where you are as a business owner and helping you grow and get to the level where you want to be.
Next question.
Okay, but how long does a minority certification last for a business that, qualifies once they have been approved?
So certification lasts for 365 days. So you get a complete calendar year of certification. You can recertify starting 90 days from the date of your expiration, and recertification also lasts for 1 year. So every year you have to recertify. Recertification isn't half as intensive as the original certification. You just have to update your information and provide some financial documents.
Next question.
Can you provide examples of some specific benefits that a minority small business may miss out on if they are not minority certified?
Absolutely. So there's a few, and I'll hit on one in every one of our target areas. So NMSDC says that we're going to do 4 things, and we do them extremely well. That is advocate, certify, develop, and connect. So I'll go with advocate. So one of the things that we look at doing for our businesses is help them understand how to be more effective and efficient in contracting with our corporate members. So one of the opportunities that we actually were able to engage on is we had a corporate member, an MBE, who was interested in doing business with a corporate member, and that MBE did everything that we instructed them to do, as well as what that particular corporation had engaged and encouraged them to do. They were just not having a lot of luck with the particular buyer in that organization. So they came to us. We were able to go in and talk to that particular buyer and organization and advocate on behalf of that particular minority business. And now they're doing multi-million-dollar contracts with that particular organization. And so that's the type of advocacy that we can provide for our minority businesses. And they only received as a result of being certified by one of our regional affiliates. We develop. So we provide several developmental programs within the organization. And one of them is by Tuck in Dartmouth. And so we provide these senior level classes to help MBEs grow, because it really helped them be strategic about their growth and help them understand where great capabilities are. So we're seeing that as a direct result of providing educational resources like Catalog and Tuck for our minority businesses. We're seeing once they go through those classes, they're able to really grow their capacity and grow their business through forming an alliance. And we've seen a direct result of that with one of our businesses who was a regional business located in one region. They were able to form an alliance with another multinational corporation, and now they're doing business not just in the US, but also outside of the US as well. Connection. We believe in connecting you to the right individuals so that you can get the right type of business. And so one of the things that our new CEO and president has been focused on is getting the line of business leaders engaged. And so what we're seeing now is that not only are we encouraging supplier diversity to be active participants, we're also encouraging the real line of business leaders to be active as well. And so that's even more interesting and engaging, because what we're starting to see is firms that are in non-traditional areas of opportunity actually being able to meet with that individual line business leader and understand the importance of engaging minority businesses in their purchasing habits as well. So those are just 3 examples in each one of our categories to say what you will receive as a result of being certified.
Next question.
As a national organization, does the NMSDC have any business projections or forecasts for the near future that would be encouraging to minority small businesses, especially considering the hardships that so many of us have experienced during the pandemic? Or maybe information about some specific industries, contract opportunities, or national networking opportunities?
Absolutely. So we've actually made a pledge, and we've asked our corporate members to make a pledge to do a path to $1 trillion. So in the next 5 years, we want to do $1 trillion worth of revenue spend with our minority businesses. And so that means that we're asking each corporation to commit to doing at least 1% year over year of procurement growth with minority businesses. And so what having that deliberate type of approach and asking them to increase their spend with our MBEs is actually holding them accountable to be able to do that, but also recognizing that there's a big focus right now on doing business with communities of color. And so we want to make sure that we are taking advantage of this moment and putting the focus on how do we make sure that we give those contract opportunities to those communities so that they're able to help us meet that $1 trillion goal.
We have time for just a few more questions.
What is your most notable business success story involving a certified minority small business who was certified through the NMSDC, which can think of some of the benefits that a small business would have after obtaining their NMSDC certification?
Yeah, I would say our biggest success story, and I mean, I absolutely love this firm, is actually the Jose Mas of Mastech. So Mastech, it was a family-owned business that was started by an immigrant in the Florida area. They started as a small business, and it is a family-owned business, and now they are trading on the Fortune 100 list. And so just 15 years ago, Jose Mas stood up at one of our regional conferences and said and made the comment that wouldn't it be great to have an ethnic minority MBE trading on the Fortune 100 list? And lo and behold, 15 years later, here he is making history as being one of the first. And he's kept his certification throughout that entire process. That not only shows commitment, it shows dedication to minority business development as a minority business owner and the value that he has received just as being certified as a part of NMSDC. And so recently he spoke at one of our events and he said, it's not good enough just to be a minority in America. He said, you have to be great at what you do, and you have to have passion around what it is that you do on a daily basis. And so I am so very proud of that firm and being able to witness the substantial growth that they have, and not just with corporations, but the impact they make on other minority businesses.
Next question.
Now, can a minority small business become certified through some other agencies or organizations other than the NMSDC?
Yes, there are several different certification agencies out there for minority small businesses. You have the ability to get certified by government or municipalities. So depending on where you are, you may be able to get city certification or a transportation certification or a state certification. And then, of course, there's the federal certification for small disadvantaged businesses. They're not allowed to use the word minority although we're fighting to change that. But there is the ability to get, like, from the SBA 8A certification or service disabled veterans or woman-owned small business. So there are several different small business agencies that are out there that are really focused on looking at it. We are the organization of choice for private corporations. So if you're looking to do business with firms like Shell, Chevron, Exxon, Best Buy, Target, those Walmart, those types of firms, then that's who we certify for.
Next question.
Can you tell me what's the advantage of certifying with the NMSDC as opposed to with a local agency from my city, state, or another organization?
So the big difference between a public and a private certification is specifically NMSDC allows you to do business across the U.S. in those international components without necessarily have a brick and mortar in those areas. So if you have the capacity and the capability to do regional or national, international business, then your certification with NMSDC allows you to do business across all of those platforms. Whereas if you have a public sector certification and it is a local or state municipality, that just gives you the ability to do business in that city or that state, not necessarily across outside of those borders. And so that's really the biggest impact that's significant and difference. Some of those businesses, I'm not sure, I can't speak for all 50 states and all the cities in the US, but some of them are small business programs, which means, remember when we first talked about it, small equates to a personal net worth designation in a certain size standard. And so NMSDC doesn't have that. And so that's another significant difference. If your firm continues to grow, then you can grow yourself outside of those programs, whereas NMSDC, we want to keep you in the fold.
Next question.
Okay, so what are the first steps that a minority small business owner should take if they want to become minority certified through the NMSDC right now after listening to this session?
So one of the great things we have right now, as I mentioned, we're in a pivotal moment where a lot of our corporate members are making commitments and dedications to remove certain barriers from certification. So if an MBE is willing to go through the work to get certified, we are administering some grant programs at the national office that will reimburse the business owner certification if they're interested. So you could go to the website, which is reimbursement.nmsdc.org, and you could fill out one of the reimbursement forms. It'll come to the NMSDC office and we'll connect you with the appropriate reimbursement funder that is interested in funding your reimbursement, and then we will connect you to your individual regional council, so that then your regional council will walk you through how to apply for certification, that process, and help you with any additional questions. And then once you're certified, NMSDC will reimburse you your certification fee.
Next question.
So how do these steps differ, if at all, for minority small business owners or those wanting to start a business who are foreigners or immigrants living in the country?
So for us, for NMSDC, our certification you have to be a US citizen. And so the steps regarding certification will be completely different, because most of the certification entities, you have to either be a permanent resident or you have to be a US citizen. And so it's not to discourage foreigners or immigrants of actually becoming certified. That is a path once you become a citizen or a permanent resident. So at the beginning, I would say, there is some organizations out there that still support the growth and development. It just may not be a certification. So you could go to places like your Small Business Development Center. Those organizations actually have consultants that can help you start your business. You could go to the SBA and go to SCORE. SCORE are retired executives or professionals that can help you start with your business. Think about feasibility study and the creation of your businesses. And so there's additional resources out there that could help you as you start and get your company off the ground. And then once you become a path to citizenship, you can start looking at our certification and other certification that may be a benefit to you.
How can foreigners or immigrants prepare to become minorities, small business owners in this country if they are of any of the recognized minority groups?
Sure. I would say if they qualify for if they come from any of the countries where we recognize their lineage, the first step, if they want to be affiliated with the certification organization, is become a pathway to citizenship. That is going to be very important for them to be able to seek the resources that we have to offer, because we do require citizenship. I would say that shouldn't be the end, right? That should be the path. So one of the things I always encourage people do is formulate relationships, right? As you are beginning to go on that journey, there's other things that you could be doing. One is surrounding yourselves with additional experts and other professionals. So although you may not be able to join an NMSDC affiliate, you can still participate in events and activities that are open to the public. So as you have a business, as you're looking at growing and develop your business, you can still either form an alliance with a company that is a US-based citizen that has a certification. You could come to the events and start meeting the corporate members and creating those relationships. I always tell people in order to sow a seed, you got to plant a seed. So it's important that you start doing those things to kind of plant your position so that later on, when you do become a citizen, you could start sowing those relationships that you've already pre-planted in order to be beneficial and work on behalf of your firm.
We have reached the end of our time just about. So I want to take this time to thank you, Constance, and thank our audience for your time in attending this information session with the Senior Director of Field Services for the National Minority Supplier Development Council, or the NMSDC. This has been a great session with loads of information for our minority small business owners on how they can certify their companies as a minority business with the NMSDC and take full advantage of the many benefits and support that comes with that certification. Constance, can you let us know what the website is where our minority small business owners can go to find the closest NMSDC affiliate near them here in the U.S. and to get more information?
www.nmsdc.org.
How can minority business owners who live in any of the countries with NMSDC affiliate offices, which you mentioned earlier, connect with NMSDC in their country?
They can actually reach out to us at NDS Outreach at nmsdc.org, and I will connect them with that local affiliate in their particular region or area.
Can you please repeat that?
NDS Outreach at nmsdc.org.
Before we conclude our NMSDC information session, Constance, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, I would just like to say, keep going, right? So one of the things that I always share, regardless to if you hear me main stage or not, I'm always going to leave you with 2 points. One is minority businesses have shown that we are agile and we are resilient. And so just keep keep being persistent. And it's okay to fail, because sometimes we learn and do our best work after we fail, and we are resilient and we rise up again to start something bigger and better. And so just continue that and have that tenacity. And second is, we have not because we ask not. And so I always tell firms that it's okay to ask. Ask for it. I'll ask for anything. The worst thing they could tell me no, and then I'm still gonna ask. Well, why no? Right? Because that's the way we learn to understand what we need to do differently in order to be a better steward of our services and of ourselves. And so just remember to always ask. I tell people all the time, they come up and they want to meet me, and then we shake hands, and then they leave it at that. And I'm like, is that really all you want? Or is it something else you want from me, but you're scared to ask? Don't be scared to ask. Be bold, be brave, and be tenacious in your journey. I mean, you had to be in order to start a business. So don't stop there, right? Don't let fear be the reason why you stop and don't ask. Because again, the worst thing they could tell you the no, and that's also the best thing, because you have the ability to turn that no to a yes. So I would just like to, leave you with those words of encouragement, because I think a lot of times that has gotten me through a lot of days, and I'm not even an entrepreneur, but still I take advantage of my own words to say, hey, I still need to fight this fight on behalf of our minority businesses. So the worst thing a corporation can tell me is no, they're not interested, and then I can wear them down to tell them why they should be. And so I think that's what makes me happy, and that's what makes me get up every day and work on this side of NMSDC.
Well, there you have it. This concludes our session. We want to thank Constance Jones, the Senior Director of Field Services at the National Minority Supplier Development Council, and our wonderful audience of minority small business owners, those who have joined us today and those that have watched this video. Thank you. Now that you have completed episode 3, Certifying Your Company as a Minority Small Business, let's take a look at 6 key takeaways that were presented to us by Constance Jones, the Senior Director of Field Services at the NMSDC. Number 1, there are many benefits to your business becoming certified by the NMSDC. You will receive support and resources for business development, business connections through networking and NMSDC advocacy, and corporate and government minority certification recognition. Number 2, there is a wide range of businesses that certify with the NMSDC, from those with zero revenues to those trading on the Fortune 100 list. Number 3, there are NMSDC affiliates in 23 cities across the United States, so you can locate one near you. Visit the following link for more information: www.nmsdc.org. Number 4, the NMSDC also welcomes minority business owners who are immigrants and hold United States citizenship. Number 5, the NMSDC has 5 international affiliates in Australia, Canada, China, South Africa, and the United Kingdom for minority business owners in those countries. And number 6, reimbursement grants to cover the certification application fee are currently being offered, so there should be no hesitation in applying for certification. Please visit the following link for more details: reimbursement.nmsdc.org. Thank you for watching episode 3, Certifying Your Company as a Minority Small Business. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode and that the information presented herein will place you well on your way to certifying your business with the NMSDC. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you can be the first to be notified when we have posted our next video. See you in the next episode. The Minority Small Business Digest is brought to you by Global Organization and Planning Services, LLC, with 2 locations, one in Newark, New Jersey, and the other in Metro Atlanta, Georgia. You can reach out to us by phone, email, or on our website's contact page. Check out our website at www.globalorganizationplanning.com